Hi everyone, I'm Thomas Bovici from CA, and I'm going to present you the integration of Lustre as a storage backend for OpenStack. I will present this together with Jean-Sébastien Bevilacqua from Linagora. As an appetizer, this is what you will be able to do with the outcome of this development. First, you will be able to give a public access to the data that resides in your Lustre file system securely from the internet. This is interesting in terms of data center architecture as it will allow you to connect your HPC storage infrastructure to the rest of the world. The second item is that you will be able to use Lustre as a common storage backend for various purposes, not only HPC, thus allowing you to save money and reduce your maintenance efforts. So what's the problem with accessing Lustre over the internet, especially to give a public access to anyone on the internet for your Lustre file system? First, you need to run specific software on your Lustre client. This software must be compatible with your Lustre servers. You need to trust the clients. You need to specify fine access rights for any client on the internet, not only the one you know. If you want to set up authentication, you have to configure it on both client and server side. Clients can also make your file system unstable because of wrong I/O behavior, or because the client takes an DLM lock and then disconnects, thus blocking the file system for some time. Clients can also exploit known bugs, looking at the Jira and see what it can do to crash the file system. Also, we're not sure how Lustre can handle millions of clients. So sharing a Lustre file system publicly on the internet is definitely doesn't look like a good idea. The second problem is that you must have a private file systems with your HPC cluster on it, as you are looking to this today. You may also have on your compute center a cloud storage system that provides an OpenStack Swift or S3 interface to store objects in an object storage appliance, which is probably a different kind of system than your Lustre file system. And you may also have a virtual machine farm, for example, an OpenStack cluster with virtual machines that need to store their images. So you may have a specific storage system for that too. The problem with that is this kind of architecture is not flexible. You may have too much space available in your private file system, and maybe you're very tight on your block storage appliance, so you cannot easily reallocate the volume depending on your need. Also, this requires expertise in all these systems, private file system, the object storage, probably Ceph, and here you may have a NAS or another object store. So this requires a lot of expertise and effort to run them all. The other missing thing here is that you cannot share easily your data between the systems. For example, when a code produce a file here in the private file system, it's not easy to share it instantly over the Swift interface. So that's why that's the solution we consider to address those issues. The idea is to have Lustre as a common storage backend for Swift, the block storage of the VMs, and its legacy purpose, which is the data from HPC applications. So here in this architecture, codes access Lustre as usual. Swift will be able to store its data in the Lustre file system, and VMs will be able to store their images into Lustre File Systems 2 by implementing a new OpenStack Cinder driver for Lustre. Icing on the cake, it would be very nice to have a common namespace between the application POSIX namespace in Lustre and the name of objects in Swift. This would allow applications to produce data in the file system and then to share them on the internet through an S3 gateway, Swift gateway, sorry. And this requires to implement a bidirectional synchronization between the two namespaces, which would be very convenient for this kind of use case. So a little bit of background about this development. So this development is done in the framework of the IC project, which is a European H2020 project that aims to implement a federated infrastructure across several HPC sites in Europe. This infrastructure is called Phoenix. And as part of this project, it includes the funding for implementing new services that are required in this project. And Swift over Lustre is one of these identified required features. So due to its long experience with Lustre, CA was designated in this project to lead the RFP to develop this Lustre OpenStack integration. And so there has been a tender procedure, and the company that was selected at the end of this tender procedure is Linagora. So the rest of this presentation is done by Jean-Sébastien B. Villacroix that will present us the design of this solution.
Hello everyone. Welcome to this presentation about Lustre and OpenStack integration. So we'll see in 5 parts with the introduction, how to integrate Lustre and OpenStack. So first, my introduction. So I'm Jean-Sébastien B. Villacroix, technical manager at OSA in Linagora, and I work with the CEA in order to integrate OpenStack and Lustre. So I will try to be fast because I am only 15 minutes. So let's start by the introduction. What is the purpose of this integration? So we'll work on 2 modules, Cinder and Swift, which are OpenStack modules. Cinder is the volume block module, and Swift is the object storage module. So we'll integrate with Cinder in order to store Cinder volume directly in the Lustrefs and to be able to attach this volume to a virtual machine with Nova. Then we'll integrate with the Swift. We will see the basic integration and the deep integration. So first, Lustre and Cinder integration. So what we want? We want Cinder to mount automatically the Lustrefs for us. We don't want to manage it. And then we want Cinder to manage the volume for us. So creation, deletion, everything. Extend everything. Then we want Nova to be able to attach the volumes and detach it. That's the goal. So first, how is the interaction between these OpenStack modules? So there are Cinder, Nova, and OSBrick. So Cinder is for the disk management, the mounting the Lustrefs, creating the volume, deleting the volume. Nova is for attaching and detaching. And OSBrick is a tiny library allowing us to launch some system commands like mount, things like that. So we'll have to develop code inside these 3 modules. We'll see now in details how to do it. So what is the operations performed by Cinder? So when we start the Cinder service, we want it to mount the Lustrefs. we don't want to manage it ourselves. So it will mount the LustrFS in a directory directly managed by Cinder. The administrator doesn't have to manage the LustrFS, because when you restart Cinder, you don't want to remount your LustrFS. So things to note is that when we speak about volume, it means files. A volume in Cinder, a volume block, is just a file, a regular file on the file system. So when we say that Cinder creates and deletes volume, it just creates and deletes file on the file system. It's very simple. So just to complete, and Nova, when it attaches a volume, it just attaches a file to the virtual machine. So to go deeper in the development part, so in Cinder we'll start by developing a new driver. We'll follow the OpenStack convention. So we'll add this driver to the path you see here, and directly in this driver we set the configuration parameters, and these configuration parameters will be available directly in the Cinder configuration files. So you can see, we define several parameters. For example, Lustre sparse volumes, it allows to create volumes that takes few space on the file system. And below you see the Lustre drivers, so with several methods to implement, because he inherits the RemoteFS Snapdriver distributed, like this Lustre driver is similar to the NFS driver, so the code will be similar too. NFS driver code is like 2000 lines. So here you see the small principal functions methods, but there will be a lot of code. So you can see, for example, create volume, delete volume, do setup is to mount the file system, etc. So that was the Cinder part. Now we have the Nova part to attach and detach volume. So the same like for Cinder, we'll develop a new driver. So we follow the OpenStack convention, the Nova conventions. This driver is simpler because for Cinder, it's similar to NFS. So if we just look at the line of code in the NFS driver, there is just 100 lines. So it will be like that, the same, approximately the same here. So not too much code, and it's different than Cinder because the configuration is in another file. And like you can see, we have just two simple parameters to tell Nova where to mount the LustrFS. Yes, I don't go to the OS brick part because it's very a small code to develop, so I don't go in deeper in it. But you can ask me for some question after during the presentation if you need. So next with Swift. So now we have seen the volume disk, the block storage part of OpenStack. Now we'll see the object storage part of OpenStack. So when I say basic integration, it's because it's not very an integration. It's just we mount the Lustre file system on a server. We install Swift, and we configure Swift to use we configure Swift to use this the folder, the directory where Lustre is mounted. So like you can see, it's just a very simple configuration of Swift with only one device, because in Swift you can have several devices in order to handle the replication of data, things like that. But Lustre do it for us, so we don't need to do it with Swift. So it's a very simple Swift configuration with because Lustre take care of replication, and all Swift features are supported because it's a transparent utilization of Lustre. And another good point is a very small Swift ring. So I don't know if you know what is a Swift ring, but it's just a file containing all the Swift configuration. And it's with this configuration, it's very easy because we don't need to update the ring regularly because we have only one device. And in Swift, when you add a new device, you have to update the ring and to put it on every Swift node. So it's a very good thing here. So that was a very basic integration. So nothing to do. But there is the deep integration. What I call the deep integration, you will see, the goals. The deep integration answers to these two goals. To be able to access files stored in Swift directly through the file system, it means that Lustre administrator navigate in the Lustre file system used by Swift. He can retrieve easily files. So now it's impossible with Swift because, like you can see on the slide, Swift stores the file in its own unreadable path, so you can't retrieve a file. That's a problem. Next, we want to be able to recover file with Swift, which has been set up directly in Lustre. So Swift has to know the new added file. So it currently can't work. So there is a partial solution. It's Swift on file. So let's take a look at Swift on file. So Swift on file have pros and cons. So pros, it's implemented as a storage policy. It means you don't need to modify the Swift code, but you can add new features as a storage policy in Swift. So that's a good part. And Swift.file resolves our first problem. We want to access file in a readable way. Like you can see, with Swift on file, it's very easy to find a file. But there is problem. It's not compatible with Python 3. It's not compatible with the last Swift API. We'll see after a while. And it can't synchronize file from Lustre to Swift. And the most important problem, Swift on file is no longer maintained. So let's go through this problem. So the first one was the Python 3 support. So it's mandatory now because Swift no longer supports Python 2. And the last stable version of Swift is the Victoria version of OpenStack, targets only Python 3. So it starts with a difficult migration because Swift on file communicates a lot with the outside world, and the major breaking change when passing from Python 2 to 3, the string IO manipulation, and there are a lot in Swift on file. So first, a big problem. Next, the new Swift API. So Swift on file is based on an old Swift API. And there is a lot of API change between the two. Like you can see, here you can see the two files, the two major files. So there is a lot of modifications. So 1,000 lines of this file and 600 in the server file. So like you can see, the API has completely been updated. Next, the third problem is the two-way synchronization. So it was, the second goal. So currently, Swift.file does not support this feature. It's currently not. It's well not in the README. So I just put here a part of the README where I say file added over file interface do not show up in container listing. So this feature doesn't exist. So it's a new service to be implemented. A service like a daemon because it must run alone and it must listen to the file system to see when a file is added directly in the file system. We will add a good performance with Lustre with the utilization of the changelog. But like it's open source software and maybe someone will want to use Swift on file without Lustre but with another file system like GlusterFS, for example, we should offer a generic version. We'll try to. And next, the test coverage. Of course, we have to go to 100% of test coverage. Currently, Swift on file is just at 60%. It's good, but it's not enough. And we will have to write the new services, the new daemon. So we'll have more code to test again. So in conclusion, there's a lot of work to do. The Cinder part is currently under development. So for the second part, it's just a quick start guide and a guide to help configure Swift. And the first part, Swift on file, is under study. When you will be able to use this contribution, so we'll start the first contribution in the first quarter of 2022 for the Cinder parts, for the storage, the block storage, and for Swift, so the object storage, so Swift on file, we will start contribution in the second quarter of 2022. But you will not be able to use it at this time because it can take many months to be available for everyone. The community have to look. There is a lot of code to do, so it will be maybe I think the end of 2022. It will be available for everyone. I think. Yes, that was. Thanks for your attention. It was. I will. Sorry, but I had to go very fast. So, of course, you can ask me a question and I will answer you. Maybe you will have a lot of questions. It really is a pleasure. Thank you and goodbye.